Hi, my name is Mr. Dragon, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to meet you at back to school night for our beginning band parent meeting, but I wanted to send you this video as opposed to a lengthy email to try to hit some of the high points of the meeting and answer any questions that you might have before you get a chance to ask them. As always, if you have anything that you need, anything you're concerned about, please shoot me an email or give me a phone call, and we'll get things straightened out as best we can. I am recording this in the band room after school. It's possible we'll have a student come in through the door, getting an instrument or something like that, so I apologize for any interruption. I've also included in this email a copy of the PowerPoint that I used that night, and you can feel free to maybe have that open to the side, click along with it as I cover all the things that I would be trying to cover at the beginning band parent meeting. First thing in the slide is just a congratulations. Welcome to the Liberty Band family. We are extremely proud of our tradition of musical excellence here in Liberty Public Schools. Heritage Middle School, South Valley Middle School, Liberty North, both schools. We've had high school bands perform in New York City, in the King Kamehameha Parade in Honolulu, Hawaii, in Chicago, at the State Music Festival, at the State Convention for Music Educators. We're very proud of our tradition of musical excellence, and we're very happy that you are going to be a part of that as well. A couple of the rules in my classroom that I go over with the kids is the expectation is that they are always respectful, always prepared, and always present. I want them to be respectful of the material, the instruments and objects in the room, as well as each other. I want them to be prepared every day by having their instrument, their pencil, their music, everything that they need, and to be present by not only being in the classroom, but being mentally engaged as well. How parents can help the band student at home. It's really, really important that your attitude toward their progress in band is supportive and enthusiastic. It's the nature of learning an instrument that some of the sounds you're going to hear in the initial weeks are not great. You're going to hear some not terrific sounds, but it all represents progress. And sometimes we have to sound bad at something in order to get good at it. So every sound that we're hearing in the first couple weeks deserves a lot of praise because it is a sign of even better things to come. It's very helpful that practicing is encouraged, and perhaps your help in finding a designated practice spot. I have found that a child's own personal bedroom is usually not the best place to get practicing done because it's a place where so many other things happen. A quiet space that, at least for the 20 minutes that they're practicing, is just about practicing and wouldn't be having a lot of distractions and things like that would be very helpful. How do you get an instrument? This is the biggest question. A lot of people under the misconception that you need to buy an instrument for your child to be in band, and that is simply not the case. If you are certain that your child is wanting to be a part of band forever, and you know that right now, you might be able to save yourself a little bit of money by purchasing a quality instrument right away. But the best track, in my opinion, and from my experience, is that you do the rent-to-own program that Meyer, Palin, and REW offer, where you pay a little bit on the instrument every month, and after a certain amount of time, the instrument is yours. But if at some point you decide that band isn't for your student, then you're able to return it with a minimum of financial obligation, and that's really a great situation. Also, at these stores, while you're renting to own, your repairs are covered, and that is a beautiful thing. Things happen while you're learning the instrument. Just a drop, accidentally misaligning something, bending a key, and it's very nice for these repairs to be free when you take them into the shop. So that is really a great way to go. If you have an instrument at home, Uncle Bob has a clarinet at his house. Mom used to play the flute, and it's in upstairs. I would love to get a chance to look at that because sometimes things may look like they're in great condition, but they actually might need a few little minor repairs or possibly major repairs before being okay for your child to use at school. And so it's just really good for me to be able to look at those and check those out for their condition, and then I can let you know what may or may not need to be done in order for that instrument to be a suitable one for school. We do test every student on every instrument, and we work with them to help them come to the right conclusion for what they want. They may really, really want to play the trumpet, but it's not a great fit for them. And they are really great on the clarinet, so I might try to steer them towards that. That being said, if they look at me with that look in their eyes and they say, Mr. Draven, all I've ever wanted in my whole life is to play the trumpet. Please play the trumpet. I know that I wasn't very good at it, but I will be. I'll practice twice as much. Well, my gosh, I'm probably going to go ahead and let them play the trumpet because their desire and their heart is a very, very important factor. There are, in some cases, certain physical characteristics that might make being successful on a specific instrument more difficult than others. One example that comes to mind is the phenomenon of a teardrop lip. That would be if an extra bit of skin right here in the middle that would cause the airstream to split can make playing the flute, for example, a little bit of a challenge. Not impossible, just more challenging than perhaps another instrument for that student. Overbites and underbites can be contributing factors as well. We have 3 places that are available for renting an instrument during the rental week of September 26th through October 2nd. Myra Music, a great local Kansas City area company, normally has a store in Zona Rosa, but for that week of rental only, they'll have a satellite store open in Price Chopper over there on 291 and AA Highway. They'll be open Monday through Thursday after school till I think about 8 p.m. It's a great opportunity. You can go to the store, get a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, and a clarinet. Sure, why not? That is an excellent place to rent from. Another one down the street here in Liberty is Palin Music, and that is a place you can go during that week, as well as a store called Musician's Choice allows REW, that's a Kansas-based company, to rent instruments out of their store. Myra Music is a really great company. They're all great companies. We wouldn't allow them in our district if they weren't great companies. The 4th option is if your child is driven to play something such as the tuba, which is an enormous instrument, and the monthly cost of renting a tuba would be maybe $150, $200 a month to be equivalent to how much it would cost to rent a trumpet. So we don't ask students to do that. We will let the student rent a tuba from Liberty Public Schools for $150 for a year. They have a tuba at home, and then they have a tuba at school, and they carry the mouthpiece for it back and forth. We also let students rent French horns, baritones, and bass clarinets from the school. Bassoons as well. Numbers are limited. We only have, for example, 2 bassoons. So that's the maximum number of students that would be able to play the bassoon. And those do go back and forth. Tuba is the only thing that one at home and one at school. The other things are large instruments, but they do go back and forth with the student. That's $150 for the year to Liberty Public Schools. But for most things like a trumpet, a clarinet, a trombone, a flute, a saxophone, percussion, these things can be taken care of at the music store. Let me just read them all off to you from the slide that you could be listening to. Flute, oboe, clarinet, alto sax, tenor sax, trumpet, trombone, baritone, and percussion from the store. From the school, bassoon, bass, clarinet, baritone, sax, that's the 7th grade only, French horn, baritone, and tuba. In addition to the instruction that we give here at school, we highly recommend private instruction. Private lessons are going to be an enormous difference maker for your student if they're able to do that. We are not allowed to require private instruction for any instruments, although experience has taught us that the French horn, the bassoon, the oboe, and percussion are 4 instruments that almost need to have private instruction. They are much more involved and a little more complicated than some of the other instruments. And so the child just kind of being on their own in a class of 40 people trying to figure out an instrument that's twice as involved as far as the number of keys and the technical aspects of it, it just is not. They're set up better for success if they have private lessons. Most people don't necessarily realize this, but percussion is not simply playing a drum, but it is playing a snare drum, a bass drum, timpani, cymbals, all kinds of auxiliary instruments, in addition to the marimba, or xylophone, or bells, which is a keyboard set up in the exact configuration of a piano. Once again, we do not require that a student have piano playing background to play percussion. We do not require that. But we highly recommend that percussionists have prior piano experience in order to be successful. It is not a requirement, but history has shown us that without that piano background, some students do struggle quite a bit in the percussion section, and we don't want that. We want students to be highly successful. For the other instruments, it would be nice to have private lessons, but we do provide some tutoring opportunities. Perhaps an older 8th grade student could help your 6th grade student with the trumpet, and that would be sufficient for about a year. The next slide in your PowerPoint would show why it's important for us to do private instruction. This, for example, shows all of the different coaching positions that are on the high school football team. You'll see there are several. They have a coach for each one of these positions. Meanwhile, I'm an expert on the trombone, so I'm like the head coach, and I also would teach trombone. That'd be like a head coach, football coach that also taught the wide receivers. And then we have Mr. Fuller that comes over to us twice a week, and he helps percussionists. But flute, clarinet, saxophone, trumpet, all these other instruments, our coaches are the private teachers that are available to you, and all this is in your handbook, so you can look through that handbook. We do require daily regular practice, 20 minutes a day for 6 days a week, and that is logged by them and signed by you and turned in every week. There are, again, more details on this and in the handbook about what you would do, what exceptions there would ever be for those practice cards. And then we show you a sample practice card that they'll have coming home very soon. Grades are based off of daily participation, live playing tests, video playing tests, written work, practice cards, and their performances. 2 band concerts, one on December 8th and the other on May 2nd. If you would please send this text message to this phone number, at HMS BEG, that's your message, and you're sending it to the phone number 81010. This will set you up for cell phone alerts and reminders as they relate to beginning band. It is not something that I use very often. You shouldn't expect your phone to blow up on a daily basis, but it sure is helpful. iPhone users, especially if you're iPhone on T-Mobile, please, if you can get rid of the hyphen. We don't want 810-10. For some reason that won't work. 81010 in that message. And that is the quick version of all the things we covered. I wish that band was something that didn't require a financial obligation from everyone, because I know that finances are not always the easiest thing to deal with, but it does. None of these instruments are free. The maintenance on them isn't free, and of course there are books and things like that. I encourage you to please look very carefully at the contents of the Parent Band Handbook, particularly the recommended supplies and instrument list, and make sure that you are, when you're heading out, that you're getting the right kind of quality things. Again, going to these stores like Meyer Music, they have experts there, and they also know exactly what we here in Liberty expect for our students to have the very, very best. If you have any questions about anything, please send me an email. That's one of the quickest ways to get a response. If you think your question requires a little more attention than an email could answer, please give me a call. I will do my best to return your call in a timely fashion. That is just, with my schedule, I'm not always able to get to those as quickly as I am to emails. But I'm very excited for your kid to be a part of band. And again, any questions you have about money or about any of it, I will do my best to answer. I may steer you to calling Meyer or Palin yourselves, and getting answers from them, because I don't work for those companies. They're the ones that service our area, and so that's why we recommend them. They're good companies. They've done good things for us in the past. So I apologize for any stuttering on this. I've never done one of these video meetings before. I usually have a live audience to play off of, and I hope this was helpful and a little bit easier than reading a whole bunch. But do make sure that you read through that band parent handbook, especially the calendar of dates and the recommended instrument and supply list. Those are probably some of the most important pages that you can read. All right, well, I look forward to hopefully meeting you someday, and thank you very much for your time, and Have a lovely evening.